So this is on trail day number 141, I do believe. It is Wednesday, November 25th, 2020. I stayed last night here at the Laurel Creek shelter. There's no one here, so I just put my hammock up inside the shelter. I've had breakfast, got everything packed up, ready to go. It's 9:30, so getting a decent start. There's two shelters. One's 14 something miles away, the other one's 18. We might do the 18, we'll just see how it goes. It's only 4,900 foot of ascent between here and there, so that's not too bad. We want to do the outdoor research glove liners I got are working perfect. Like this morning's a little chilly, it's not cold. I can do most camp tasks with them, so my fingers are appreciative. The Solomon boots are hiking shoes. They're working out pretty well so far, but the gaiters, they're doing their part, but the strap that goes, just like I told the guy at the outfitter, all the rocks and stuff, probably not. The other one's a little worse than this one, and they're only about 50 miles. So that'll be alright. I have a plan to replace them if they break, chew through. But yep, that's the plan for today. So I'm gonna finish getting packed up, be on the trail here in the next 20 minutes, something like that, and we'll see what there is to see along the way. I'm about a mile south of the shelter, and we have a climb right out of the gate. There's some attempted to switch back, like right here, but a lot of it just comes straight up the ridge. So it's a pretty good climb. There's two, this one and another one today. I get to the shelter at 14 miles, then it's downhill to the next shelter, but I have a feeling it'll be dark or close to it when I get to 14 miles, so that's probably where the day will end. I had everything packed up and about ready to go, and another hiker and his doggy showed up. So after talking to them some, I still got out of camp about the same time I normally do, even though I got up early. Go figure. It's a little breezy, kind of cool, but climbing this hill, the cool breeze is nice. So there was a hiker I ran into yesterday around 11:30. So it's probably about 2 hours into my day, and he had stayed at the first shelter. I stopped there and signed the logbook yesterday because I didn't have self-service, and he was, I don't know, maybe a mile and a half from the shelter, and he was making lunch. And I didn't talk to him very long, but he had said he was planning on going to the next shelter, which was only, I looked in gut hooks, it was only 5 miles from where he was. And he didn't know how far he was hiking to. He was just out here hiking. First time he had a machete. He had like 3 knives, you know, kind of looked like a bushcraft type person. Well, this morning I was about to leave. There's another hiker, through hiker with his dog, came by the shelter. And he had stayed at that first shelter last night. I think he started at 4 o'clock this morning. He's doing planning to do a 30-mile day. But he ran across that hiker I saw yesterday morning up on those exposed rocks past the Eastern Continental Divide. They said he come across him like 6:30 this morning, just laying out in the trail. And he thought he had missed the shelter. He thought he'd done been too many miles or whatever. But he never made it that 5 miles. I kind of worry about him a little, but you know, he's way behind me now. But if you're going to go hiking on the AT, and you don't have a lot of backpacking experience, November is probably not the ideal time to do so. As if he got stuck up on that ridge last night and had been, say, cold as the night before, and high winds, he might would have been found in a worse off way than he was this morning. Well, we got a little bit of a hill, and then there's going to be a downhill to the War Spur shelter, I think. It's about 3 miles, and that's where I'm going to stop for lunch. But it hasn't been too bad today as far as the terrain. Had that hill climb right out the gate, but ever since we got over that, it's been pretty cruisy. Yes. One thing I've never understood about deer hunters. They just take their deer stuff, not all of them, some of them, skins, gut piles, etc. And they just drive out on some road and dump. I mean, at least go off out in the woods. I had been having spotty service, cell service for the last couple of days, but I had 4G right up at the top of that mountain. I was able to check the weather, and it's supposed to start raining somewhere around 6 o'clock. The percentage is up at 5, but it's only 6 o'clock, so when the percentage gets like high enough, you can figure it's probably going to be some precipitation. So I'm probably just going to do the 14 miles today. Something been clawing entry, or a woodpecker working on it one. It's just supposed to rain tonight and then stop early in the morning unless the weather forecast changes. I think the other hiker will most likely push on to the shelter after that. So that'll be good if no one else is at the shelter and it rains. I won't have to deal with a wet tarp in the morning. I almost put my tarp up last night And my hammock outside the shelter. There's a really nice spot behind the shelter. But the lazy part got the best of me. It doesn't take long to set up the tarp and take it down. It's just one other step you gotta do. Guess that used to be a logbook. I have no idea. Like a pretty good campsite here, though. Got about another mile, give or take, to get to the War Spur shelter, where I'm going to take lunch. We made it to Bailey Gap. Nope. That's the one we want to go to. It's the War Spur shelter. We have a nice bench out here. And privy right behind it. I'm going to stop here for a lunch break and reassess from that. Alright, so I stopped here at the War Spur shelter for lunch. Had tuna and cheese tacos. It's pretty good. But it's 3 o'clock. It was like 2:20 or something when I stopped here. I got 8.8 more miles to the next shelter. So it would definitely be dark. Several hours after dark. Probably 7:30, 8 o'clock, guessing. Because there's a pretty good climb from here, and then you get up top, it's flat. But with the rain coming, I can't check the weather. I don't have cell service, but the last time I could, it was showing rain all night. And cold, it's already getting colder. And I only have the one set of headlamp batteries. I put the last set in last night, so I'm just going to stay here for the night. It's only like 5.5 miles or something for the day, which is not very good, but 5 miles further south is better than no miles further south. But I'm just thinking wet gear, probably going to get rained on before I get there. And then it's supposed to be getting cold for the next couple of days, so I'm just going to elect to stay dry. And this shelter seems pretty good as far as the wind, unless the wind changes direction. It's not blowing into it, so. But all day I've been kind of Some days you just feel like hiking, some days you don't, so. I mean, part of me wants to throw the pack on and start going, but the rest of me saying, no, don't do it. And it's not the lazy part of me, so if it was just the lazy part, I'd just go ahead and go up the mountain. But the rain's the biggest factor, rain and cold, so I'm just gonna call it a day here and chill out. Hopefully a big crowd doesn't show up. I can put my hammock up in the shelter and be rested up and get in a good day tomorrow.